People like to believe villains are obvious. They're not. At the beginning, everyone liked Evan Marshall. He didn't wear power suits. He didn't sound like Wall Street. But when he talked about decisions, he talked calmly, like someone who understood risk. And in America, that sounds like competence. It was 1984. Crime dominated the evening news. Fear was everywhere, just quiet enough to ignore. Evan wasn't selling hardware, he was selling relief. And relief is always a strong business model. Evan Marshall was an engineer, not a banker, not a financier. But very quickly, he realized this wasn't an engineering problem. It was a financial management problem. He built a compact home security system. Cheaper, simpler, easier to sell, no long contracts, no legal language, just safety. His first office was a converted garage in San Jose. The first team, 2 technical friends, and a receptionist named Carol. Carol understood something early. Growth meant nothing if the cash flow didn't work. At first, sales were slow, then they accelerated. Local media loved Evan. They called him the kind of American innovator we used to make movies about. Evan laughed, but he remembered it, because being seen as the good guy felt right. The product worked, the financial margins did not. Every unit sold generated less profit than the one before it. Carol was the first to say it clearly. She brought the numbers. If we scale like this, she said, revenue grows, but cash flow collapses. Evan looked. He understood. And then he postponed the problem, because growth felt like proof, and proof felt better than financial discipline. Prices were lowered. Supplier costs were cut. Payments were delayed. Nothing illegal. Just financially fragile decisions. Every choice quietly said, we'll fix the balance sheet later. And in the short term, it worked. Sales doubled, revenue climbed, charts went up, investors started calling. Evan began managing not the finances, but the financial story. Around that time, America felt familiar, comfortable. Suburban dinners looked the same everywhere. A frozen TV dinner in the oven. Coffee left warming too long. A television always on in the background. On the screen, the same promises. Sitcoms where problems ended in 30 minutes. Cop shows where help always arrived in time. Everything reset by morning. That was the promise. Evan's system entered thousands of homes, small houses, apartments, places where children slept down the hall. A keypad by the door, a soft beep when armed. Parents liked that sound. It meant control. It meant order. It meant safety. But here's what the commercials never showed. Every system shipped came from a balance sheet under pressure. Cheaper wiring, plastic replacing metal, testing shortened to protect margins. From a financial perspective, it made sense. From a risk perspective, it didn't. At first, nothing failed dramatically. A delayed sensor here, a missed signal there. Customer support apologized. Replacement parts were shipped. On paper, these were minor operating costs. But safety doesn't fail all at once. It fails quietly, late at night, when no one is watching, when the numbers don't show it. There was a report, buried in a regional file, a break-in, no headline, no lawsuit, just a police note mentioning a security system that failed to trigger, a shaken family, a child crying. Officially, the system wasn't blamed. Unofficially, it was supposed to do something. That report crossed Carol's desk. She didn't dramatize it. She didn't accuse. She placed it on Evan's table. Evan read it once, then set it aside. Because acknowledging it meant admitting something worse than a bad quarter. It meant admitting that financial optimization had crossed into harm. And harm doesn't appear on a balance sheet. Evan told himself it was an edge case. Statistically insignificant. Numbers are very good at making responsibility abstract, and America helped, because everywhere the same financial myth was repeated. Growth equals success. Speed beats caution. Slowing down means losing. No one wanted to be the company that hesitated. By 1986, Evan was everywhere: trade magazines, morning shows, industry panels. He spoke carefully. People heard confidence. One investor stood out: Richard Kane. Old money. Sharp smile. "Great story," Richard said, "but this growth model carries real financial risk." Evan smiled. "Risk is the price of growth." That was the moment. Growth stopped being a strategy. It became a necessity. Debt was added. Inventory was leveraged. Future sales were spent early. The balance sheet expanded. Cash flow tightened. And then, like most financial collapses, it started quietly. Returns increased. Costs rose. Debt pressure mounted. Banks called. Investors disappeared. The numbers finally spoke. The company shut down on a Tuesday. No headlines. No rescue. Employees packed silently. Carol didn't say goodbye, not because she was angry, because everything important had already been said. Evan stayed alone in the office, surrounded by products that once meant safety. He didn't look shocked. He looked confused, like someone who did everything right financially and still lost. But the financial damage didn't end with the company. Homes remained, systems still installed, families still believing they were protected. There was no recall, no announcement, just silence. Evan never faced a courtroom full of victims. He faced something worse: nothing. No shouting, no accountability. Just the knowledge that some of the safety he sold was imaginary. Money can be lost. Reputations can disappear. But fear stays. Especially with children, especially at night. Evan wasn't stupid. That's what makes this story work. He understood the risks, the debt, the cash flow, the balance sheet. He just believed he was the exception. He didn't steal money. He spent trust as if it were renewable. In American finance, it never is. The moment Evan chose growth over financial honesty, the ending was already written. He was almost right. And almost right is how people lose everything.